Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. I apologize for the pretty abrupt live stream. Didn't plan this, but only like 20 minutes in advance, so I apologize for just a random pop-up stream here. But let's see what we have here in the chat. We have the Weather Warrior. We also have Caden, Hoops, Leon, Livid, Mr. Tanks, Pete, Weather Nerd, Chip, Ben, Caleb, Legacy, Haywood, Girl Dev, Lakeisha, Scott, Misty, and everybody else who I may have forgotten to welcome. Or if you're just now tuning in and haven't chatted yet, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. Tapwater as well. Let's go ahead and switch on over to it. Hoops, glad to see you in here. Let's switch to our main scene. Hopefully everything looks good. I should have done like a triple check here. Right date? It's the 13th of April. All right, still got my dates correct for now. That might change tomorrow. Who knows? I forget a lot, especially the day, the actual day, because as Chad has been saying in here too, for some reason it does feel like a Monday. I don't know what it is, but it feels like a Monday today. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the potential for severe weather today, for Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday. And then we also will be talking about the risk for severe weather next Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We've got a lot of severe weather on the table. Also tomorrow, too, as you're looking here in the background, we've got this severe threat we're also looking at. I've just been very, very busy. This weekend was cram-packed with activities, and next weekend will be too. I am busy on Friday, which is probably going to end up being our biggest day for severe weather. I will be busy through the day on Friday, but as we get into the evening hours, closer to like 7, I'll be able to probably end up streaming on Friday. And then, of course, the week after that, I'll be fully free next weekend. And then on the 26th, I'm going to be heading down to Talladega. That's going to be a fun one. Let's hope that it's going to be full of clear skies. Clear skies would be awesome on that day. What is that going to be? That is going to be the 14th anniversary of the April 27th, 2011 super outbreak. And guess what? It is in the works. You guys have voted for a full-on analysis. I've already gathered resources. I've already started to download the radar screenshots of that day. So the April 27th, 2011 super outbreak analysis is currently underway in terms of getting ready to film. It's going to be probably a while before I can actually film it. I'm hoping to get it done next week. So we have that severe threat on Friday, which is this day. This is Friday severe threat. We may have one on Saturday back out in this area. And so after Saturday, Sunday, so I'm hoping next Monday, a week from tomorrow, I can get filming it. And then hopefully I can get it out on the 14th anniversary of the 27th. If I could get that done, schedule it by then, that would be great to have it on the anniversary. Yeah, hopefully I can get that done in time. But yeah, let's go and start talking about our SPC outlooks, because that's what you guys are here for. So this is our SPC outlook for tomorrow. We've got a marginal risk and a slight risk for severe weather. That is a level 1 and a level 2 out of 5 for severe weather. So not all that high end of a threat for severe weather, but what is pretty unusual is the tornado risk. Now, West Virginia only gets about 1 to 3 tornadoes every year in the state of West Virginia. And they actually have an opportunity to see a couple tomorrow. You can see that 5% tornado risk through the northwestern portions of West Virginia. If you are chasing, turn around. Don't chase this area. It's terrible. I've actually been I haven't been in West Virginia, but I've been very close to West Virginia. And then we also have that 2% surrounding it. The only chaseable terrain in this 5% is southeastern Ohio, but you can see how bad it gets after Lancaster. So this after this white line, this whole area here, it's just all forced, especially as you get up into this region. It's just don't chase it. So tomorrow, main risk, definitely going to be the opportunity for a couple tornadoes, specifically from the Portsmouth area down towards Huntington, back up into Morgantown, well to the south of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour will also be possible on a potentially more widespread note there. Could see a little bit more of a widespread wind threat. And the hail threat may actually take the story here. We actually could see up to about 2.5-inch in diameter hail in and around West Virginia. So that includes Columbus, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Charleston, West Virginia, Lexington, Kentucky. Big 15% there. Wouldn't be shocked if we get a 15 hatched somewhere in here. There's a little uncertainties on exactly where storms will fire, but somewhere in this area, wouldn't be shocked to see a hatched risk introduced for tomorrow. I do not see it going enhanced for those who may question that. I don't think we will see a categorical risk upgrade for tomorrow. It doesn't look like that type of a high-end day at the moment. And also that risk is for, what is that? That's like about 26 million people under the gun for severe weather there tomorrow, which is a Monday. So on top of it being a Monday, you got to deal with severe weather out there. Then as we go on into Tuesday, not much really changes here. Tuesday doesn't look that big. Tuesday may actually be one of the more inactive days we see in the U.S. for severe weather in the next 2 weeks. Then going on into Wednesday, not much changes there. We might have a low-end risk for severe weather. I haven't really looked at Wednesday, to be honest with you. I've been more paying attention to Thursday and Friday. It looks like, yeah, we may have a conditional risk for a few storms in Kansas or Oklahoma, probably in this area right in here for Wednesday. So we'll keep an eye on that, see if that uptrends or completely vanishes. So not fully on the clear for Wednesday, but no highlighted area at this point. Thursday gets a little bit more interesting. We do have a 15% chance for severe weather outlined over the Omaha metro area, and as well as Lincoln, Nebraska, up towards Des Moines, Iowa. Almost for 3 million people there on Thursday, which that could be a very interesting risk. Thursday does indeed have the potential to be a very notable threat for tornadoes, potentially outbreak caliber level. But there is a lot of uncertainties on the amount of forcing, the capping, and the amount of storms that fire. So, in my opinion, I don't see Thursday being big at the moment. It looks like capping will probably hold it from being a very notable day. But the ingredients are there. Temperatures are into your mid-70s. Dew points are into your mid-60s. Your instability is almost at 2,500. Supercell composite is in the red, which is pretty good. That's about 7 or 8, which is definitely favorable for tornadoes. Your 0 to 3 kilometer wind shear is around 400 meters squared second squared, so you're very favorable out there. You also got a good shortwave trough, and then of course you have your lower level jet, which is barely under 50 knots. But one thing I didn't mention there was the capping. The capping is at negative 300 sen over the southern portion of this risk area. So there is definitely a question mark on if that capping will erode, when that capping will erode. Will it be in the overnight hours when that cape starts to go down, and exactly what will happen there for Thursday's threat. So we'll see. Thursday could end up being the bigger day. But right now, there's just too much uncertainty on that capping eroding or not eroding. Friday, the day that I am currently busy, I'll be busy till about 6 o'clock. So hopefully I'll be able to at least stream some of this event for you. This, at the moment, doesn't look significant, but it looks extremely widespread. We're talking about thunderstorms firing all the way from central Iowa all the way down to southwestern Texas. So we're talking about this entire area being under the gun for all severe weather hazards. At this moment, it doesn't look very significant. There may be a local area where it's a greater opportunity for severe weather. If I had to highlight that, it would be near the triple point located up here in Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. But there's a lot of uncertainty on that. You can see that area I just drew. I don't know if I can get it back. I can't. But this area here, you can see it's barely even in the 15% chance from the SPC. So Thursday, I'm unsure on how significant it will be, but I'm very confident it will be a very widespread severe threat. So that doesn't mean it will be like a tornado outbreak, right? But what it may end up being is damaging winds all the way from Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, all the way down to Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio. So a very widespread threat. Right now, the SPC has almost 35 million people under the gun for potential significant severe weather being a possibility there. Again, all the way from Michigan down towards Texas in that 15% chance. It's too far out to say if they will be introducing like an enhanced risk or whatnot. I don't have a high confidence in that occurring. The trough doesn't look very favorable for, at least at this moment, tornadoes. So if they do introduce it, it would probably end up being for wind as opposed to like a strong tornado threat per se there. We'll just monitor it. Either way, I do see this being a very widespread threat. So just to go over that again, Thursday could be very significant in terms of all hazards, but there's a question mark on if storms will actually even fire. Friday, storms will fire. However, it looks like wind shear, I believe, is the issue. Let me go check that for you. Yes, wind shear is a big issue on Friday. So that is really good news that we have a lacking ingredient there. Let me just show you this warm sector, by the way. This Friday definitely has the warm sector look of a very high-end tornado outbreak being possible. But, like I said, we don't have good wind shear, which is everything. That's literally everything. That is what forms tornadoes. So if we go out to that warm sector, that is it the 18th? That's Friday? Yeah. So that is the 18th, and look at that. Look at that. Cold front right in here, and your warm front up here, low pressure. So that's what I was talking about, that triple point being right up in here. That may be your main focal point for severe weather. But I mean, geez, look at that warm sector. Those blues are 60s. So you have 60-degree temperature, or rather 60-degree dew points all the way from the coastal areas of Texas and Louisiana, even Mississippi, all the way back up into Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, also into Oklahoma as well. So just a huge open warm sector. And just to show you, if I can, it doesn't look like I can show you the wind shear on here, but this is EHI, which is your energy helicity index. And you can see there's not a lot of it. There's really not a lot of EHI out here. It's a very widespread area of low wind EHI. that's combining your instability with your wind shear. So you know something is lacking in EHI. And if we take a look at instability, which we can here, you could tell instability is not the issue. By far, instability is not the issue. Very large open warm sector of 1,000 plus instability in this entire green area, and then up to 2,500 here in this yellow area. So instability is not the issue there. Let me go over to here. There we go. Look at your 500 millibar, and you can see why there's a wind shear issue here. You really just don't have much shear here, like at all. So that is good news. And then if we look at your your simulated composite reflectivity, you can see how widespread those thunderstorms are, all the way from Michigan way up here, all the way down to the southwest portion of Texas. So a huge area of thunderstorms. And you can see even some of those begin to fire as soon as 4 o'clock here across this area. And like I said, I wouldn't be able to stream towards 7, which it looks like if we do have, at least at the moment, it looks like the peak tornado threat would probably be right at dark. We'll have to see which way things trend here over the next couple days. But it looks like right at dark would be our peak tornado threat. So just guessing this far out, pretty wild guess. I would say our peak tornado threat is from about 5 to 9 Eastern time. I would miss at least half of that. So let's go over to here. We're going to take y'all over to the model runs. I know we've been looking at them, but we're going to look at them more in depth here. So we're going to look at tomorrow's threat first, because that's, well, the closest threat for severe weather. So into the overnight hours tonight. Now this is midnight tonight. Just a band of, is this rain? Just had to check, never know. That is indeed rain, not snow. Just had to double check that. So just a band of rain, not really going to cause much issues. Worst case scenario, if you live out in like Syracuse, New York, bring an umbrella to work. That's about as much of disruptions as that's going to cause. Monday afternoon here, this is going towards 3, 4 o'clock. May see some signs of initiation beginning here in Kentucky. Some signs of initiating back out here towards the Columbus, Ohio, back up towards Cincinnati, Ohio. And then at 5, 6 o'clock, that's when things should really get going. And you see down here in Kentucky, storms really get firing right along that cold front. Also some storms starting to fire up out here in Ohio right about 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock, that continues. 8, 9, and you can see 9 o'clock, man, looks like a tornado outbreak happening over West Virginia here, doesn't it? Just very widespread area of plenty of supercells, which is a very uncommon model run that you see. This is not a type of run you see often over West Virginia. But take a second look here. Temperatures into the upper 60s, lower 70s, and dew points are into the upper 50s. So you do have a bit of a spread there in terms of temperatures and dew points. Mods, if you want to put on slow-mo, if that's for some reason not on. Yes, I don't know how that got turned off. Can we please keep that on? We are going to turn that on there. Unfortunately, when we have a lot of people watching, we end up getting a few trolls in here, so I at least need to give a few seconds for mods to get to them. So it looks like dew points may be slightly too low for the like higher end tornado threat threshold here. Again, as you go towards like 7 o'clock, these temperatures are into the mid 70s there. Dew points into the upper 50s. So we'll have to pay very close attention to that. If we do get a little bit more moisture over West Virginia, temperatures may be a little bit lower. This could end up being a very notable threat for tornadoes out here. Maybe even an isolated strong tornado threat. But that's all going to come down to the temperature dew point spread here. If we look at everything else, if you look at instability, that's sufficient. You know, you're at about 1,000 joules there. 0 to 3 kilometer instability, which before we look, it should be around 150, if not a little more. It is, 130 there, right around 130. I believe anything more than 50 is sufficient for tornadoes out here. I'm pretty sure 50 plus is good, right? I don't know if somebody wants to correct me on that. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure it's like around 50 to 100. It's either one or the other. Which we'll go with at least 100. We'll go with that. At least 100 for the potential of strong tornadoes, at least. A strong tornado threat, at least 100. Just overall severe weather, 50. So like back out here in Tennessee, Kentucky, where you have like 50 to 73 Cape, that should be enough for severe weather, spin up tornado threat. But if we're talking about a strong tornado threat, you're probably going to need closer to 100, maybe a little over 100. I am not chasing West Virginia. You got me all messed up there, Lakeisha. I am not chasing 10,000 plus elevation out there in the Appalachians. Heck no. You kidding me? It would be a drone only chase. That is horrific. You do not want to chase up there. Like I said, the only slightly chaseable terrain is back out in this area. I am not chasing to West Virginia. Wind shear, 0 to 3 kilometer wind shear. At least minimum 0 to 3 kilometer wind shear, 150. 273. So big check mark there. 0 to 1 kilometer wind shear, around or preferably greater than 150 for a strong tornado threat. And you can see we're right around 150, some spots up to 200 here. So I would say this is very sufficient for a few tornadoes, possibly even one strong out here in West Virginia. So I would definitely stay hyperweather aware. If you're anywhere in this, wow, red supercell composite in West Virginia. Not every day you see that one. Yeah, so if you're anywhere in the state of West Virginia, I would be paying very close attention to the weather. I definitely could see a couple tornadoes, maybe even one strong out here. The only thing I'm a little questioning is the 3 Cape, but I don't think that matters too much. As long as you have a good amount of instability in the lower levels here, so this is the surface, and then this is the mean layer, and as long as that's around 1,000, then you're good. So 3 Cape, you definitely want 3 Cape, okay? You need some 3 Cape. But I don't think we're looking at like a cold core setup where, with cold core setups, you look for greater than 153 Cape mixed in with vorticity. So I don't think we're like at that case. You have your cold front right in here that's going to ignite storms anyways. The famously good chasing terrain to the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah, see, I complain about it here in Martinsville, which is, a little bit more of city terrain, and then as you go east it gets more towards country, a lot of trees, but that's just straight mountains. Like, you're not going to be able to see a storm at all. That's just going to be impossible to chase. I did think about chasing Northern Virginia. I have thought about that. Then one quick look at the time frame up here, which you can't see. This is midnight. This is midnight Eastern. I am not going out to Northern Virginia, a good hour and a half, 2-hour drive, just for me not to see, due to it being dark, anything. So I would not chase that. And also, after they pass West Virginia, like right in here, after about 11 o'clock Eastern, they should become big-time hailers there. As the temperatures decrease, moisture decreases, or maintains there. The biggest threat should end up being hailers there. You can see instability starts to wane off very significantly, or around or even in some spots under 500 instability. Wind shear is still maintaining there. So I do think, geez, we could even be looking at a long track tornado threat here. If we get a supercell that can plant itself in that favorable environment in southern West Virginia, bear with me, I know that was weird, southern West Virginia there, we may even could see a long track tornado threat. I don't think long track strong tornado threat. I don't think that would be possible, seeing a long track strong tornado threat here. But yeah, I mean, you can see those are your updraft helicity tracks. The HRRR definitely has at least one or two long track supercells out here in southern West Virginia. Now, if we go to the 12's HRRR, that shifts fully to the north. So that's a big difference. If they're more north, they are outside of that very favorable moisture. If we look here, you can see they are outside of that very favorable moisture. You're into like the mid 50s here, maybe into the low 60s. Whereas back out here, you're into almost the mid 60 dew points back out in Kentucky, West Virginia. So I'll be paying very close attention to this tomorrow morning. I'm going to be watching it like a hawk. There's a very high chance we do end up. Wow, that is some big time. Jeez. Now that would be something. That would be a sight to see in West Virginia right there. That's crazy. Yeah, but we're definitely going to be live covering this. I'll figure out exactly when we'll start. We'll either start, there's two different start times. We'll either start at like 4 or we'll start at 6, one or the other, depending on which way the time frame of these storms trend. I would probably be leaning towards more 4 p.m. Eastern time start time because, man, this is probably going to be a threat you don't want to miss. It is not often you see the NAM 3K show stuff like this, especially over the state of West Virginia. This is something that even the NAM doesn't show these type of runs out in Kansas during the higher end threshold event. So the fact that that environment is in place over central southern West Virginia, gracious day. My goodness. That is insane. Yes, this is tomorrow, Ben. That is just not something you see often at all on the NAM 3K. Like I said, even on higher end days in Kansas, normally it initiates like this, where you have a messy line. But the fact that it initiated semi-discreet, yeah, I think after looking at this, Indiana, I actually do think this could go 10 sig Tor. I know I said an enhanced risk wouldn't happen, but after doing more of an in-depth look at this, I would not be shocked if we wake up to a 10 sig Tor over West Virginia tomorrow, which is wild to even say. That is wild. I remember, I don't know if it was 2024 or 2023, we had a bunch of tornadoes in western West Virginia, and that increased the total of tornadoes, obviously, in West Virginia. It put them well above average. This event might actually end up doing that, too. Except for instead of just western West Virginia getting tornadoes, it would be like much of the state is at risk for a couple of tornadoes tomorrow. If we go back to the SPC, I just opened GR2 analysis. Let me go close that. There we go. And look at the tornado probabilities. I would expect this to change. They're definitely going to shift that 2% more south. But right now, almost all the state of West Virginia is under the gun for tornadoes, with the exception of southern West Virginia and like the tiniest little sliver left here, Charlestown, and extreme eastern, northeastern West Virginia. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that slight risk gets pushed a little bit more south and we see a 10 sig Tor introduced probably over like this area. It would not surprise me, just to give you a little bit of a better look, like right in here or somewhere in there. Would not shock me. All right, now let's go ahead and look at more of our synopsis here and just our overall pattern. So this is what's causing tomorrow's severe weather event out there in West Virginia. We're going to be dealing with a very large, relatively positively tilted trough. But it's multiple little short waves here, and just overall the strength of our positively tilted trough that is going to allow for an area of enhanced lower level jet, as you can see right in here, to develop over our primary risk area and initiate those thunderstorms. Biggest fail mode tomorrow is probably over convection. That could definitely easily destroy the entire threat. yeah, that little area of enhanced lower level jet there over West Virginia. You can see that tiny little red dot right over southwestern West Virginia there. That's where the NAM 3K and the HRRR have really started to show the best threat for potentially long track tornado threat, if not at least a strong tornado threat. Should I drive to Oklahoma next week? No. There's always fail modes, Ethan. You always risk it. I wouldn't be talking about that until like you get much closer. I mean, you could definitely at least start thinking of traveling there, but don't like plan it until you get closer because the whole setup itself could just fall apart in one day. Um, I learned that plenty of times out here in Virginia. Planning like when the SPC highlights like a day 7, 15% chance over Virginia, and then by the time it goes to day 1, it's a marginal. Yep, I've had that before. I've also had where it stays it's just like a windbag threat too. So for Thursday, well, let's actually back it up a little bit. So for Wednesday, the greatest threat for severe weather on Wednesday will be a little conditional risk out here in Kansas and Oklahoma. I really don't expect much, but maybe a few small hailstones, isolated damaging wind gusts would be possible. So we'll keep an eye on Wednesday's threat. It doesn't look like an issue at the moment. Thursday, that's a different story. You could see a quite evident and quite well negatively tilted shortwave here traversing over the eastern Four Corners area into the Great Plains here on Thursday. And that should be enough to initiate thunderstorms, at least over this portion of your risk area. Somewhere right in that area, most specifically southwestern Iowa, southeastern Nebraska, northeast Kansas, northwest Missouri. We should all see, hopefully this doesn't happen, but we should see initiation in that area. And if we do, you can see, I mean, geez, that risk area that I just like outlined there, nearly perfect with the GFS's newest model run on the greatest threat for severe weather. And I mean, if that initiates, we are definitely looking at a potentially a higher end setup out here, really centered over the Omaha area, back down towards almost Kansas City, Thursday evening into the night hours of Thursday on April 17th. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. It could easily be a very notable threat. I do want to stress that quite a lot here. All it takes is just a little bit of convective uptrends here, and we could be dealing with a very notable tornado threat in this area on Thursday. Thank you, Brody, for the $2 donation. You're chasing Friday, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. Yeah, not a bad area to chase. That actually, like the northern, like that kind of tri-state area you just mentioned there, like this region right in here, could actually see a pretty good risk for severe storms on Friday. Depending on which way it trends, though, the GFS, I think, is trended a little bit more west. If we look at Friday here, that's what we're looking at now. Yeah, you can see the GFS is trended more towards actually this area here being the greatest risk region. A little bit west than what the SPC has as their 15%. I mean, just the smallest bit more west. So that would lead your region to getting more of an overnight threat for all hazards, as opposed to like a daytime tornado threat where a good chase, something that's actually you could see would actually be the case there. So we'll see which way that trends. Right now, it looks like it would end up being an overnight threat for you guys towards that tri-state area, but we'll see. Towards Chicago, I would keep an eye on where that triple point sets up at. That's what I would keep an eye on. So, geez, I can't even see your low on this. Okay, so there's your very, very broad low. Not a lot of actual strengthening in that low. Very broad low pressure out there over Iowa. What millibar is that? Like 998 maybe? Not even 1003. Yikes. So definitely not a very strong low pressure there. But here's your low. Here's your cold front trailing back out in this area with your warm front likely going back out like that. I think that's actually like a perfect, that's like a perfect warm front draw right there. So I would keep an eye on that triple point, which that would put it like right towards the Chicago area. So that's where I'm going to watch for the greatest all hazards threat for the moment. We'll see if that downtrends and then maybe we trend towards more of an Oklahoma threat for tornadoes or something. But at the moment, that's going to be the area I watch the most, which will be from, oh man, what's that town's name? I almost want to say like, okay, Davenport. Nope, not the town I was thinking of. I was thinking of Cedar Rapids, which is a little bit more to the west, but from like around Cedar Rapids, from like this area back out into Chicago is where that triple point may set up. So we'll keep an eye on that for Thursday, or rather Friday, my bad. That's Friday, April 18th for that threat. But you can see just how wide this area is, right? Again, you have your very broad low back up in here. A very broad low pressure, not strong at all, with a cold front going back down like this, and then that warm front over the top of it. And so that's just going to allow for like a line of severe weather to form. Go one frame further. You can just see this line that forms along your cold front. And then maybe a bit more discrete convection right on that triple point. And that is for 8 p.m. Saturday evening / night. 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's closer to 11 p.m., closer to 1 a.m., closer to 4, and then you're getting towards 7 a.m. there. So unfortunately, this is horrific, but unfortunately, if you do live in Indiana, Eastern Illinois, I know you're sick of this. It looks like another nocturnal threat for all hazards for you guys. Another nighttime threat for severe weather. We'll see which way that trends. There's still plenty of time for that to, speed up, and then it ends up being more of a daytime threat, or there's enough time to where it slows down and then actually storms die out before they get to you. So we'll just need to keep a very close eye on it. Again, the greatest tornado threat should be like right over that triple point area into the Midwest, somewhere up in here. And Thursday, I mean, I'm telling you, man, Thursday, that could easily be I wouldn't call it a sleeper threat because the SPC's already highlighted it, but I mean, geez, if something initiates in that, yikes. It would just be a really solid threat for all hazards if something were to initiate there. So just we'll need to keep a close eye. Personally, I'm more worried for Thursday. I really am, because Thursday, even though it doesn't look like much right now, it kind of seems like it will have more of a discrete mode to it. Let's see here. Yeah, so you have your front orientated like this, and then storms would be moving this way. So you would have, depends where they fire. If they fire it up on that northern side towards like the Omaha metro, they would end up being a little bit more discreet. More to the south, it looks like if they fired down here towards like Kansas City, that'd be linear. So like literally bullseye over the Omaha metro. We may see some discrete storms fire on Thursday. And if we look at dew points, that's something I didn't think of. Yeah. You could see right there, literally over and a little east of the Omaha Metro. That's where your best dew points are here. I just want to try to get a non-contaminated sounding. Let's pull it right over this isobarb there. And yeah, I mean, you could see a 998 millibar low back out into northeastern Colorado. Yikes. I mean, geez, that is a sounding and a half for a long tracked, strong to intense tornado threat. If anything gets going in that, geez. Let me zoom y'all out so you can see how good this sounding is. S tier sounding right here. You've got a good amount of cooling with height here, good dew points, good temperatures, ridiculous varying with height. S tier hodograph right there. Let's see if we can find any caveats down in 1,000 D cape. I mean, geez. Holy moly, what a sounding. Just ridiculous. A little dry slot there too, which will just ignite thunderstorms as they get towards that mid-level. Wow, I mean, my word, this is a classic long tracked intense tornado threat. Absolutely classic. My goodness. Trying to spot anything wrong, but I mean, wow. A little bit of capping, but man, that capping, 89 capping. That is not anywhere close to the negative 300 that I saw earlier. Can I still see that? Yeah, look how weak that capping is. Did that get stronger on the 18Z? Not really. Yeah, something could definitely fire. I'm gonna actually screenshot that sounding because my goodness, that is, and I forgot exactly what you call it. We'll just call it like venting. But just where your precipitation would be, I mean, my goodness, you're looking at a classic supercell that would be able to form there. It would just have a ridiculous hook in this area, and then all the precipitation would be displaced to like the east, maybe southeast. But I mean, gracious day, that is just wow. That is just a wow sounding right there. So that's why I'm more concerned for Thursday. And again, that would be where your discrete storms would fire there. If we just figure out exactly where that was taken, yeah, that's where your discrete storms would fire. So you'd have a discrete mode up here, and then you'd have a more linear mode. If anything does fire back out here, it would be more linear. Jeez. It's not PDS though. Well, that's just because soundings do that. We could just mark that out and ignore that. You never want to listen to the potential or the potential hazard type. I don't listen to that. Yeah, if it is PDS, you'll hear me say like, "Oh, PDS Tor sounding," but it's not really something I pay very close attention to. Really good Storm Slinky as well. Maybe a little bit more of a degree needed on that, but you can see. So what basically you could draw this out. You can draw out how your supercell would look on this day, just like that. So you'd have your hook echo right here, where that white line is, and then just the kind of where your main bulk of the precip would be back up here. I'll show the area again, Kaylee. There you go. So that's just east of Omaha, Nebraska at 8 time change. Still not fully used to that. East of Omaha, Nebraska at 8 p.m. On Thursday. And we'll see if this continues. I mean, if this stays all the way up to day one and we start getting cam models and those cam models start to ignite thunderstorms, you're definitely looking at a very high-end day there. That is just insane. For some reason, I don't think that's an issue, but these winds are like quite a bit weaker as you get closer to the surface. I don't think that's an issue though. I haven't really paid attention to that in other soundings, to be honest with you. I don't think that's an issue. Well, there you go. I just pulled one a little bit more east, and how about that, Grumpy Grandpa? There's your PDS tornado sounding that you were talking about. Now, this is pulled in Crap Vection. This is pulled in Crap Vection here a little bit more to the east. But there you go. There's your PDS Tor sounding. Literally pulled it just a little bit to the right. I mean, my goodness, that's just, to me, that's an absolute classic sounding, both of those. What changed on that made this one PDS, but not the other one? Like, what changed here? Let's see. I mean, you even have a little bit more, a little worse here of lower level wind shear on this one. Yeah. Low 3 cape. Yeah, it is. It is pretty low. 33. Yeah, maybe it's just simply the analogs. You can see we get a lot more analogs on this one that's PDS tornado sounding. Yeah, but that's for Thursday. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, east of the Omaha Metro, southwestern Iowa there. And let's go ahead and pull this forward a little bit more because, oh boy, it does not stop there. Saturday, April 19th, we got another threat for severe weather once again. Of course, right out in Oklahoma, Kansas. Is that correct? Today's the 13th. Yeah, that's correct. That just felt weird for some reason. But yeah, we got a threat for severe weather on Saturday here. Oklahoma, Kansas, a little short wave right in here. You can see the little kink in the flow. And that could allow for some isolated thunderstorms to fire on Saturday. And on the GFS, it does fire. I don't think that would be a big issue at the moment. I'm thinking mainly damaging wind, small hail, brief tornado threat. The next day, though, is probably a different story. Sunday, April 20th. This is one I cannot stress enough. This is exactly how we see some of the biggest outbreaks here in the U.S. A classic high amplitude, negatively tilted trough, bowling ball trough there, going into the west central plains, traversing the four corners, and then right into the evening hours, the cap just erodes and you see an explosion of intense thunderstorms. Now, this is the GFS, and the GFS has little instability. So that's awesome. That would decrease your entire threat. Like, low instability means a significantly lower threat. If we had 2,000 cape, 1,500 cape, we would be talking about another big outbreak out here. If this holds on the GFS, then it wouldn't be nearly as notable. But you can see here the GFS does have a little hotspot over the Texarkana area there on Sunday. But this is going to change. If we go back one run, you can see the the GFS was a little bit better with instability. So we'll have to see. It's going to be, there's going to be a lot of consistencies and also a lot of uncertainties with this. That's going to allow for us to not know the full extent of this severe threat until we get closer. But just that is an insane trough. You could see how we went from not a lot of certainty to starting to get more certain. I do think the SPC will be outlining a day 7, or is it going to be day 8? April 20th. April 20th is okay. That will be a day 7 risk. I do think they will be highlighting a day 6 and 7 risk. I think they will highlight Saturday's threat out here in Oklahoma and Texas on day 7. And then I think they will highlight day 8 probably out in like this area here. Maybe even a little bit bigger. And then, of course, they will still keep their day 4 at, tomorrow. It would be day 4 outlook and then day 5 outlook. And I don't think those will change much. If anything, the biggest change on the current day 5 outlook will be a little south-southwest expansion towards Kansas City Metro. And then the current day 6 outlook, they may push it a little bit more to the west on the northern side, a little bit less out of Ohio. And then going past that, I think we will enter, fingers crossed, an inactive phase of severe weather for 2 days. 2 days, I think we may not see much severe weather. 2 or 3 days. Our last day of severe weather from this trough will probably end up being on Monday. I miss that. Lord have mercy, that's absurd. Wow. I missed that one, though. That is when your trough ejects from Sunday into Monday. You know what this reminds me of? Oh, shoot. Oh, that's the day. March 14th this year. Almost a month ago. A month ago tomorrow. It'll be a month ago tomorrow. That's what this trough reminds me of. It's not as amplified, but that's what it reminds me of how it ejects over the central and southern U.S., how it moves up like this. That's what it reminds me of. Just the way that trough pulls up to the northeast like that, where we get our low pressure forming over Colorado, and it moves all the way up into almost Minnesota in 24 hours. Yeah. No, I don't think it will be as notable of that day, but who knows? That warm sector, yikes. You're looking at your cold front back here, warm front way up here, and just a huge open warm sector. I don't know if much of this would be used, though. If we look at 700 millibars, I don't see many short waves. We would be looking for a shortwave kink right in here for a little bit of forcing mechanism. And I don't see that. So yeah, much of that warm sector is just straight up not used. If I'm not mistaken, there's just no forcing for ascent. And yeah, you really just don't see much storms. Look at that. You're really just clear over much of your main warm sector, which is really good. It is very clear skies, though. I mean, literally, you just don't get storms because you don't have a lot of forcing for ascent out here. It's not like March 14th. If you remember March 14th, about almost a month ago, the trough was absolutely crazy. It was very intense. The mid-level jet stream, I believe, got up to 110 knots, which was insane. This one is nothing like that in terms of it being actually amplified. It's very weak back out here, which allows for like literally zero ascent. And you just don't get storms to fire. So we'll need to monitor that. I would not be shocked if they also highlight a day 8 risk back up here. Let's look at some consistencies. So this is the GFS ensemble. Let's go all the way back. So that's for tomorrow out there, West Virginia. Could easily see a 10 sig tour in central southwestern Virginia for tomorrow. Then going on into Wednesday. Again, just a conditional risk for severe weather. Maybe some storms will fire. Could see a 15% for the risk of some... actually, this would be on the day 3 outlook there. This would be on the day 3 outlook for just the potential of some damaging winds, maybe small hail. Going into Thursday, that is a very, very bad look for Thursday. A very large area of a higher end environment. But the main area I'm focused on is the northeastern side, right up in here. That's where I'm going to be focused on for Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on that. Friday, you can see, right, there's no specific area of like an orange or a red supercell composite, because there's not a lot of confidence in the higher end ingredients being up towards that triple point area. So just a widespread area of decent ingredients, enough to cause widespread damaging winds, widespread small hail, and maybe a couple quick tornadoes will be possible on Friday. We could see a stronger tornado threat develop on the northern end, but that's going to be pending wind shear, better instability, a bit better moisture for Friday. Friday, in my opinion, has a lot of uncertainties with it in terms of the greatest threat. Saturday. Oh, wow. that actually just, for some reason, that just hit me. When we start, we're not stopping. Wednesday, severe threat. Thursday, severe threat. Friday, severe threat. Saturday, severe threat. Sunday, severe threat. Monday, severe threat. Tuesday, severe threat. Wednesday, look at that. Even another little severe threat. Thursday, severe threat. Lord have mercy. Friday, it just keeps going. So, oh, you're kidding. April 27th. Man, look at that. Be a severe threat right over Talladega. Right when I'm going. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But this run, it just doesn't stop. Like, literally, when it starts, look at every day. Starting on Wednesday, April 16th, April 16th, 17th, severe weather. 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. There's another one. Look at that. There's another one. 29th. Literally, this whole GFS is just full of severe weather. That has got to be one of the craziest GFS runs I've seen in a while because of just how long the severe stretch actually occurs. Like it's just the whole 300 plus hours of the GFS is just full of severe weather. That's just crazy. What's terrible is if this does happen, I'm not going to be able to cover like half of these threats. Unless I cancel my trip to Talladega, like if there's very high confidence in there being rain, but I highly doubt we'll just cancel it. But yeah, let's hope that changes. A lot of this is going to change. All right, let's go back to our GEFS ensembles again. I mean, my goodness. I wanted to see Sunday and Monday. Yeah, so that's Monday's start. You can see there is definitely confidence in a large open warm sector. There's also confidence in a large trough. Just not confidence in how strong it is. Go back to Sunday. You could see a lot more confidence in a sharply tilted trough. Negatively tilted means it's pointed to the southeast, just like this. That allows for a greater severe threat on Sunday and Monday. And then I do want you to note how little consistencies there are after that. But the fact that it has a little patch here of wind speeds, that's concerning because that means that there is agreement between our ensembles of a trough traversing in this area for 2 weeks straight. 2 weeks straight. And that's your different scenarios. And there's a lot of different scenarios, man. I would love that. Give me number 2 right there. Give me ensemble number 2, a dominant high pressure over the central U.S. on April 27th. Give me that. Do not give me ensemble 13. We do not want that one. Oh my goodness. I mean, look at ensemble 13 over the Central Plains. That's just crazy. Now let's go take a look at one of my favorite things. You guys already know what I'm going to pull up. Have you been tuning in recently for severe weather? You know what I'm about to pull up here. The GFS ensemble chart. And yeah, definitely a good signal there. The whole week is just a signal. The whole week is just a signal. The biggest signal I see here, 24th. The 24th. What day is that? That is Thursday into Friday. Which is right here. Which, if I do go to Talladega, that's the day I leave. Well, maybe. Actually, I don't know when I'm leaving. I'm not sure what we're doing. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that doesn't happen. But definitely going to see a lot of severe weather to close out April. That's just how it's going to be. We expected that. We are in our little lull of severe weather right now. We get a kick up tomorrow. But then we start to decrease after Monday, which is tomorrow. We get a little break on Tuesday, maybe a little break on Wednesday. If not, it will be a low end threat out there in Oklahoma. And then everything goes crazy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just the rest of the GFS is all severe weather. Oh my goodness. One trough at a time, chat. Let's take it one trough at a time. One trough at a time. I hate how every time I plan trips, something big happens. The last time I planned a trip, 2 weeks in advance, Milton formed. Hurricane Milton, that Category 5, 897 millibar in the Gulf. Yeah, that sucker formed. I planned 2 weeks in advance to take a trip to Myrtle Beach. And that sucker decided, actually, no, it was almost 2 months in advance. We planned that trip. And it formed the day I was leaving. We were tracking that hurricane in the Gulf. And then it exploded as I was at vacation in Myrtle Beach. So now I've planned another trip, not necessarily a vacation, just more of a trip, quick trip down to Talladega. And we're looking at another severe threat, something disrupting those trips. And hopefully this just falls apart. I don't mind missing severe threats out in this area that much. I don't like to, but I don't mind. The biggest issue with this is I'm worried that I won't even be able to go to the race on April 27th. I'm worried I won't even be able to go to the race because you could see that's severe storms right there. Sunday at 2 p.m. on the GFS. But thankfully, if I scroll down 336 hours out, everything's going to change by then. And hopefully it changes in the sense that we get a high pressure over there. That would be awesome. If we could just get a high pressure right here and just no severe weather anywhere in the US, that would be awesome. But unfortunately, I think that's unrealistic. Oops. So just a lot of days of severe weather ahead. A lot of stuff to keep an eye on. We'll definitely need to watch towards the end of April too. I swear, just from April 26th or April 25th till the last day of April, it's always one of the most active stretches of severe weather in a given year. You could obviously think April 27th, 2011, but also most recently, April 26th, 2024, with the multiple EF3s and the EF4 that went through Elkhorn, southeast Nebraska. And just the end of April, it's always active. And I just hate how I end up planning trips and then severe weather occurs on these days and I'm not able to cover it. Like I said, I don't mind missing it, but I still would love to cover it because that's what I love to do. I love to cover it and help you guys out with, storm anxiety and just being there to cover it for you and just help you out. But yeah, the good news is I will, of course, be able to stream the day before I leave. Obviously, so say there is some big threat on Saturday, say I leave on Saturday, right? And there's a big threat on Saturday, I will just end up doing a long briefing on Friday, making sure you're hyper weather aware and just making sure you're aware of the threat. Just try my best to do what I can do if that does happen. But again, there is scenarios where we just see a high pressure over the central US and that doesn't happen. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this stream, we aren't wrapping it up just yet. But I do ask that you guys hit that like button, share the stream with your family, friends, social media. And if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button with a notification bell set to all. It's greatly appreciated. Due to those other live streams we did like 2 weeks ago, this has actually been the best month. This has been the best month ever since from March 13th all the way till now, April 13th. That 1 month stretch has been the best month ever since I made this channel. When did Livid start watching? I noticed Livid in the chat probably about 3 weeks ago is when I noticed him. Like a few days before that 5% tornado risk in Oregon. That's when I noticed him joining. But for all I know, he's been stalking the channel for the last year. You never know. It's Livid, right? Wouldn't shock me if he's been stalking the channel for a year. But yeah, let's go to the HRRR again. So again, just wouldn't be shocked if we get a 10 sig tour, probably in like this area in here. I don't know exactly where, but you know, that general approximation of where we may see a 10 sig tour, because that's where the NAM, believe it or not, the NAM and the HRRR both agree on supercells forming in this area tomorrow evening. And that's just not something you see often, especially in the state of West Virginia. Like, geez. I just never thought I'd be saying that one. And you can see all three of our main cams here. The NAM, HRRR, or my bad, the RAP, the HRRR, and the NAM all agree on a potent environment for potentially either a long track tornado or two, or a strong tornado threat, one or the other. I don't think we will see both. Personally, I don't think we will end up seeing both, like a long track strong tornado threat. I personally do not see that, but I do think we could see one or the other. Either a long tracked weak tornado, or a quick strong tornado, one or the other. Somewhere here in central southwestern Virginia, which is why I believe the SPC, they're either going to issue the 10 sig tour, or they're going to debate about issuing it. And, you know, they'll note in their discussion a consideration to an enhanced risk for tornadoes was on play for this outlook cycle. But, and then they'll mention the reason of why they didn't. Either one or the other. They're either going to issue it, or they will think about it and actually not. When the NAM and HRRR agree, you know it's going to get wild. Yep. Yep. I wonder if NATO cast is going to be out tonight for tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I saw them update today. Yeah, 3 hours ago. So I wonder if they're going to do a 00Z tonight. It's really 50-50. It depends on their personal confidence in supercells firing. My confidence is high. I think we're going to see supercells fire. There was a point where we were questioning if supercells would fire or not, but that questioning's really gone now. Yeah, I do also think they could go 15 sig for hail as well. I do agree with that. We're going to have to keep an eye on temperatures and dew points, because storms could end up being elevated, which may lead to more of a big time hail threat and a significantly lower tornado threat. But at the moment, it looks like your dew points will be in the upper 50s, lower 60s, and your temperatures will be in the upper 60s, lower 70s, which is, depending on where you look, a 9 to 13 temperature degree dew point spread, which is sufficient for surface-based storms. And now if we start seeing like our temperatures, say they climb into 75 and our dew points are at like 56 or 57, that's too much. You're getting too far on that temperature dew point spread. What does the RFSA say? Let's go see our supercell printer, see what that says. Watch it not even initiate a single storm. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness, that is so many supercells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At least like 10, 11 supercells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them being semi-discrete in extreme western West Virginia, as well as central West Virginia. So, per usual, RFSA is a supercell printer. Let's see here. Alrighty. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. So if you guys have any questions or just want to ask me something, go right ahead. I'll go ahead and answer it, especially if it's weather related. But that's everything I really wanted to get through. I got through all the model data I wanted to show you guys and went through the SBC. And Yeah. I think they'll go enhanced for something. I think if they go enhanced, it's going to be for tornadoes. I don't think we'll see a 30 sig hail, personally. I don't think we'll see, like, that threat. Or, like, a 30 sig wind. I don't see either one of those. New York to DC on Wednesday. Um, awesome. Awesome. Maybe a little chilly. A little chilly, especially depending on when you leave. It looks like, yeah, pretty chilly. Pretty chilly, but really awesome. Completely dry atmosphere there. Some clouds, especially as you go from New York down to DC. Then it clears out Wednesday night, clear skies. So a little bit of overcast with fully dry conditions. Depending exactly where you're leaving from New York. If you're going from central New York near Syracuse, you're going to be seeing some snow on your way down to Knoxville, Tennessee, or which Knoxville? But probably pretty clear. Thursday, yeah, fully clear. Fully clear. Clear skies. Or clear skies in the terms of precipitation. Actual skies, partly cloudy. Especially in the overnight hours Thursday night. I mean, it looks really nice. The only precipitation you may encounter is when you first leave New York. Some snow chances up there. Yeah, definitely some snow chances up in New York for Wednesday. Look at this. Guys, it was absolutely beautiful today. I spent a lot of my day outside today. I mean, it was literally just perfect outside. Light little breeze, mid 60s. Your dew points were very normal, low 40s, so just awesome out there. Low humidity. Awesome day to spend a full day outside. Look at tomorrow. I am cooked. I'm going from an awesome day to low 80s being the possibility for tomorrow. Like, I'm doomed. 82s, 83s, like 84. Yo. The good news is I don't have to do anything outside. I did all the work outside today. Got a lot done with the lawn, so I don't got to do a lot tomorrow. I was smart, and I did a lot of that in the afternoon towards like 1. And now it was freezing this morning. I believe it was this morning, right? Yeah, look at this. This is the HRR from last night for this morning. And, I mean, we were literally right around the freezing point. All right, see you later, Caleb. Thanks for tuning in. We don't want you getting banned, so get out of here. Let me go see if anyone asked any more questions up here. After Pete. Yeah. Could this Thursday be a reenactment of last year's April 26th outbreak or worse? I was thinking that, Mark, to be honest with you. I was thinking it could be similar, but the 2 days aren't that comparable. The area is definitely like nearly the same, if not slightly more east than the 26th outbreak. And the environment, this looks to be a little bit more capped and a little bit more, or rather a little bit less cape. So less energy, more of a cap, and generally the same area. So I don't think it will be worse. No, definitely not worse. And I don't think it will be like April 26th, 2024 all over again either, because the environment's not that potent. My thoughts on it so far is that we're probably going to end up seeing a couple tornadoes, damaging winds up to 70, some isolated large hail near 1.75 inch in diameter. Those hazards all look very possible. The tornado threat could be significantly higher but that comes down to timing. Timing is absolutely everything. If the shortwave trough's a little bit fast, that means storms will initiate before moisture gets there. If it's a little bit too slow, the capping builds in into the evening and early night hours. That means storms may not even fire. If it's just perfect, storms will fire towards like 5 o'clock Eastern, and then they'll grow upscale before that capping builds in towards 7 o'clock Eastern. Oklahoma for Friday. Tricky. I don't see a very notable tornado threat at the moment. Let's go here. Hold on, maybe I was thinking of the wrong day. My bad. I was thinking of a different day, actually. So, for Friday... Yeah, I still agree with that, even though I was thinking of a different day, yeah. Friday, maybe eastern Oklahoma may have a good chance at a spin-up tornado or two, but I think it's primarily going to be widespread, damaging winds of 60 to isolated up to 70 out there. How strong will the wind shear be on the 21st, if I had to guess? Oh, man. I don't really want to throw a guess out. That's so far away. That's almost 200 hours. How about this, Hoops? It could be anywhere from 0 knots to as much as like 40 knots. There you go. It also depends on what kilometer of the atmosphere / millibar you're talking about. So that does depend. Will South Central Pennsylvania see any severe weather tomorrow? Maybe. Maybe. Southwestern Pennsylvania, there's a very good chance of it. South Central, I'm a little uncertain. It depends exactly where storms fire. You can see here on the newest model run. Newest model run has storms firing probably east of Pittsburgh. Haha, Pez. And then South Central Pennsylvania ends up with probably isolated gusts up to 60, maybe some small hail, very low wind tornado threat. So we'll keep an eye on South Central Pennsylvania, but I don't think you will be in the main risk for tornadoes, at least. Damaging winds, I do think you could see 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts up there. The main tornado threat looks to be off to your south in this general area. So, also looking at the new GFS here, like I said, I'm hoping to start our April 27th, 2011 super outbreak analysis on Monday. But let me tell you this. If this happens on Monday, April 21st, I am not going to be recording a video on a previous event. We are going to be tracking a very widespread tornado outbreak threat if this were to happen here. Thankfully, you want to know how much uncertainty we have? Watch this. Boom. Trough is fully in a different place on the 12Z model run. Watch this. Yesterday's run. Different place, significantly weaker. Yesterday morning's run. If it loads. A lot worse. A lot worse. A lot more broad, not as well-rounded trough here. I think the 12Z was probably one of the more prolific events there. At least one of the more prolific model runs for Monday's threat. Because you could see this one on 18Z, it's too fast. It's too fast. It's way up here into friggin' Wisconsin, back out into central Missouri. Whereas here on the 12Z, this is nearly perfect. So you can see here is where you divide it, and it's your right exit region. So this is your right exit region, right here, that provides the greatest threat for tornadoes. And then it's going to be the left side of that right exit region. So if we just split that up again, this is very general. So you're looking at right in here for your greatest tornado threat. And if we look at Supercell Composite, nailed it. Right over Arkansas. And then, of course, we could look at other ingredients like lower level jet. Doesn't really help pinpoint the best threat there. Maybe dew points could help with that. Yikes. Almost low 70 dew points. Yeesh. So, like I said, that's one of your more prolific model simulations here for the April 21st threat. Keep your fingers crossed, man. Arkansas does not need any more of this. My goodness, you guys have already been put through, what, like 2 violent tornadoes? And multiple EF2 to EF3 tornadoes. You guys have already had absolutely plenty of severe weather events. So, hopefully this does not happen. You guys do not need any more severe weather. Quesos moving. Yep. It's actually funny you mentioned that because I texted 2 of my friends today. I was looking at where the tornadoes tracked. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were about 6 tornadoes around Queso's house in the last month. 6. This dude almost got hit by 6 tornadoes. Do you understand how rare that is? 6 tornadoes almost hit this dude. Including an EF4 that lifted probably about 20 miles to his southwest. I would have to go measure that distance. I mean, that's just insane. Some people barely even get a tornado that close to their house once a year, and he had 6 of them. An EF2 to his north, another EF2 to his southwest by about 10 miles, that EF4 well off to his southwest, an EF3 to his southeast, and then I think 2 other EF1s to his west. How much did that amount up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and then actually another EF1, 3 EF1s, another EF1 well off to the southwest of where he is. So like 6 to 7 tornadoes in 1 month. A single month, 6 to 7 tornadoes. And most of those occurred on just 2 days. Just 2 days there. I believe April 2nd. Yeah, April 2nd. And then March 14th. I think I have my dates right. Not for sure. No, actually, that's a good way to put it there. I don't even think I have had a single tornado come that close to my house, like the 6 to 7 tornadoes he did in like the last, at least, it's got to be at least 10 years back. If I go 10 years back, let's go to 2011 here. The closest tornado I had to my house in somewhat recent time, let's see, so just an approximation, I'm not going to leak myself here. So that was about 30 miles to my east, and that occurred in 2018. That was the closest tornado to my house. And that was about 35 miles. And this dude had like at least 6 tornadoes within that radius of his house in the span of 2 days, technically 2 days, but actually over the course of a month. It was just 2 days over the course of a month that caused that. I can't even tell you how many tornado warnings he was in. He was in a bunch of tornado warnings. I mean, that just insane. Just an absolute insane event, not only for around his area, but obviously for most of the state of Arkansas, man. Just very active, 2 times more active than what we normally see in March. And most of the tornadoes were centered over Arkansas and Mississippi. Mississippi has already hit their yearly amount of tornadoes. I'm pretty sure they've already hit their yearly amount of tornadoes. So my forecast of, I think, 75 tornadoes, I'm pretty sure it's already approaching that. And I know Alabama's getting close as well. which, I mean, that's just crazy. We still have those multiple potential severe events for the rest of April here. And then, oh, holy crap, we got all of May left. Let's hope we get that death ridge in May. Because if we don't, man, we may end up being right up there with some of the more active years. I definitely think we are going to be above average this season. It's just a matter of by exactly how much. Because we're definitely getting up there. But I'm still thinking we will see a death ridge or an omega block or a really strong high pressure that sets over the central U.S. in May and just completely cuts off severe weather for like a week or two. Kind of like in 2023. So the Climate Prediction Center has already highlighted a slight risk for rainfall, heavy rainfall out there in Oklahoma, Texas. Doesn't mean a lot, but what it does mean is that there is the opportunity for rain in that area. And one quick look at the model runs, and you can see there is going to be a big trough that makes its way across that portion of the U.S., probably on the 20th or 21st. So that basically means we'll have an opportunity for severe weather somewhere inside that heavy rain risk, that green dotted area. We'll have a risk for severe weather sometime between the 20th and the 23rd. It doesn't mean what caliber or exactly where. It's just a general approximation. But we're going to start wrapping things up here. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel with the notification bell set to all if you haven't already. It's greatly appreciated. Share the channel with your family, friends, social media. I apologize for the lack of videos. I was going to do a video today, but then I decided to do a live stream. I figured you guys would like a live stream more because it allows us to go more in depth with the potential for severe weather. But yeah. That's going to be it for today's live stream. Thank you, mods, for modding chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Really quick, thank you, Brody, for the $2 donation, and Brody for becoming an EF1 member. I appreciate it. And again, just thank you, everybody, for simply being here. That goes to support the channel. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Sunday night. Get ready for Monday because it's tomorrow, so yay. The start of another week. Hopefully it's a good Monday. Those are very, very rare. But once again, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the mods from on chat. And again, just everybody for simply being here. Goes to support the channel. And I will see you guys probably in a stream tomorrow. I imagine I'll be live. Oh, I definitely will be live tomorrow because of the severe weather threat. But anyways, stay safe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch for your weather. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Thank you much for my chat. Once again, have a great rest of your Sunday night.